fired up. It's made a great decision.
Great teammates, coaches, and other people who want to be Super Bowl champions. And we are. We're going to do it this year.
And we're going places because we want to go places.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another All-22 look. Today, we're taking a look at the Lions-Bears game, a 41-10 win for the Lions, and I'm just trying to live this type of game up because this is awesome. It doesn't happen that often that you beat a divisional team by 31 points at home, and that's what we're taking a look at today. We're going to dabble in both the offense and the defense in this video. I thought there was a lot of cool things to take a look at schematically, defensively. Week before against Carolina, I thought we were in a lot of bad spots in the first half. I thought they had a fantastic game plan to run the football on us, and while we settled back in and dialed back in and adjusted for the second half, it felt just like a little bit too little too late. However, for this game, we played this team the first time around in Chicago. They had some success, and clearly Aaron Glenn had a game plan to stop what they wanted to do. Take away the run, 8 guys in the box, change up the personnel, and as you're going to see in some of these clips, man, I thought his schematic strategy was awesome. So I wanted to spotlight that. And then, of course, on offense, probably the biggest thing is the run game. All right, we know we've been able to throw the ball. We've kind of leaned on the passing game for a little while now. I mean, we've struggled to run the football really going back since the first time we played Green Bay. However, this game, it came back, and it was really cool because I felt like for a majority of the snaps, we just won the battle of the trenches, and at a point there, it just felt like we were rolling the Bears on the trenches. 265 rushing yards on 39 carries. Jamal had a career day, 6.5 yards to carry, 144 yards. Swift went for 78 yards, one huge run. J-Mo had a 40-yard run. It was awesome to see the run game get back and going. And then with that, we know when we usually run the football like that, the passing game is usually efficient, not a ton of attempts, and that's kind of exactly what this was. Goff was 21 for 29, 255, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, that's basically what our pass game has been. We've been able to run the football like that. Meanwhile, the Bears were 7 of 21 for 75 yards, a touchdown, and a pick passing. That's not good. But that's also sort of what we expect because Chicago doesn't have many passing yards. Fields doesn't have a lot of passing yards. He mainly runs the football, and the Lions did what they could to try to take that away. Now, that's not to say the Bears didn't have success in this game rushing the football. They did, but you're talking about one of the most explosive offenses in football. It may sound crazy. However, when you get this team into positions where they have to throw, as we saw the first time around, that's not where they're very good. And the Lions got them in that spot, 1, because they kept scoring offensively, and 2, because of some of their stops that they did get defensively, because of the 3rd and longs that they did force. 9 3rd and 5 plus attempts for Chicago, and they only converted 1, and that 1 was on this first drive on the defensive holding by Jerry Jacobs. That was it. That was the only one they converted, and he was going to be short anyway on that scramble. So we're going to take a look at some clips from both offense and defense. Now, before we get into this, 2 things. First off, shout out to my man Phantom. All right, he messaged me on Twitter, showed me kind of a little thing that could be considered by the NFL. Not to say that it is being considered by the NFL, just kind of an idea that's been thrown out there that the NFL could potentially have 8 teams get into the playoff because they're probably not going to be making up, from what I understand, the Bengals-Bills game, which completely understandable. So they could end up letting 8 teams into the playoffs, and if they do that in the AFC, you would think they're going to have to do that in the NFC. And in that case, if that happened, I'm not saying it will, but if it did, it would mean that this game against Green Bay would be as simple as winning in. Forget what happens with Seattle. You win, you're in. I'm not saying that's happening, but he sent me the idea, and it's got me excited. So I'm hoping, but who knows. The good news, however, is Damar Hamlin. I put up the update on the community that he woke up last night, which is awesome. So fantastic news. We were kind of waiting for good news there, and we didn't have any for a while, so this is awesome. Shout out to everybody, for the support. I put that link up there if you guys do want to support, his GoFundMe that was set up as a charity, and now it's to support him. So anyways, that's great news, and I know a lot of us have been waiting on that. So if you haven't seen it, there you go. Fantastic news. Let's show some clips here. We're going to start on the defensive side of the ball, bounce around a little bit in this game. Now, one thing with Jeff Okudah, and I actually just heard Dan Campbell speak on it. I looked for that clip because I wanted to hear what his reasoning reasoning was behind the Jeff Okudah being in and out, because during the game we were talking about it, it sounded like they benched him, and I didn't know what happened. Then I rewatched the game, and I'm like, well, he didn't get benched. I mean, I see the guys kind of like rotating, and according to Dan Campbell, he kind of said that, one, they wanted to get Mike Hughes some looks. He said there was some things in that Carolina game, which there was. We did the all-22 defensively in Carolina, and there was a couple plays that stood out. I was like, oh, he didn't make the play there. However, I saw a play in this game where I loved the way that he attacked an offensive tackle, and I'm like, wait, why would he get sacked for that? So I do think it was, one, getting Mike Hughes some looks. Also, he threw in that Jeff was going to get possibly some looks more inside in this game. I think part of that is also due to matchups. The Lions played a good amount of man coverage. They mixed some man and zone on certain plays. Here you can see, I want to show you guys real quick, Jeff Okudah here, the slot on Byron Pringle, 6'1", 200-pound receiver. This time he's on the inside, so I thought I'd point that out. I didn't see that a ton, but this was an example of it. This was the defensive holding by Jerry on this first possession. So I did see that, and he also did get some gunner reps as well, as Dan Campbell said. So I mean, I guess technically that's kind of a benching, but he did go in and out of the game just like Mike Hughes did. He started the game, then Mike Hughes had 2 drives, then Jeff came back into the game. And there was no play to me that stuck out. Maybe there's some I didn't see, but to me, I didn't see any play. I was like, well, he's got to come out for that. So to them, it was kind of like a rotation thing. But yeah, I think Mike Hughes has earned in the past so far this season, specifically on the outside, to get some snaps, especially if you like certain matchups with Mike Hughes in this game. But even to that, like, there were plays where Mike Hughes was matched up on their tight end. And obviously Mike Hughes, as we know, is not the biggest corner. So I think he just earned some snaps. When saying that, however, Jerry Jacobs didn't seem to come off the field. It's earned to not come off the field at this point, because he didn't come off the field in this game from what I remember at all. The defensive stuff. Now, this is actually, it's the right personnel to what we're going to see. However, the Lions didn't adjust based on the kind of package that they got offensively. But I'm going to point this one out, and I'll point out others to make it more clear. But what the Lions did a lot of this game, they saw a lot of 8 in the box. They put a lot of 8 in the box. But one thing that I thought was really interesting personnel-wise that I honestly didn't expect it to happen. I mean, we kind of actually talked about this in our pregame show with Rad and saying, hey, look, we didn't see that dog mentality in him. So if there was a guy in this game, because you know how much they run the football, like which guy could kind of play that role because there was no Deshaun Elliott. And I brought up Will Harris. And actually in this game, Will Harris moved to safety. Now, he played kind of like a box safety type of role, but he played as a kind of a safety / slot in this game. Some packages, if he would come out to the field, seemingly more obvious passing packages. If you would go out there and be a safety, Will could stay on the field and play the slot. Or at times, Will would just be the safety with Kirby Joseph, and Kirby, a majority of the time, played as a deep safety. Sometimes he came down the box, but majority of the time, he played as the deep safety. That's where he's most comfortable. So I thought that was really interesting, 1. 2, the Lions showed a lot of 3-4 looks defensively, which is an adjustment because usually you're in a lot of nickel package, especially when a team goes to 11 personnel, 1 tight end, 1 running back. You usually see that a lot. Lions are technically not in that. They're in a base package here, having 3 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers on the field technically, even though 2 of these linebackers are defensive ends that are standing up, so you can kind of look at this as a 5-2 if you want. I mean, the point is, that was also a personnel adjustment. The Lions clearly leaned heavier to stopping the run, and one thing for that was getting 5 guys across the line of scrimmage. That was impactful against the run. They helped on read options. James Houston got reps on first down. I know I'm saying a lot here, but he got reps on first down. I think athletically, that was cool to see because you saw against Carolina when he was put in the action one time, he kind of shut it down. So they used him in that spot. So that's cool that he's being used more than just passing downs at this point. You can see how he's kind of developed. In certain games, you need certain matchup pieces, and he was a matchup piece for the Lions in this game. So they spread out the line, and on top of that, when the Lions dropped into zone coverage, pure zone, not a combo coverage, but just zone coverage, a lot of times you saw them bring a blitz, meaning they'd have like 1 less underneath defender. So if they did cover 2, they would bring cover 2 blitz, and they bring 5 rushers, and a lot of times it was just their 5 rushers on the line that were there already. Every once in a while, you had a guy like James Houston drop out. That was his sack. James Houston dropped out from the edge position, and then he ended up running down Justin Fields. So that's why we saw that, and it's like, man, look how explosive he is. So that's what the Lions did. A couple things the Lions did that I wanted to point out, and I thought I'd point out here. You can see Duracell, you may be missing him. He's over here matched up on the tight end. Now, the Lions definitely played a good amount of man coverage, but one of my favorite things was them mixing man and zone on the same plays. I thought that was awesome. I thought Glenn got very creative in this game, and I thought he had a really good game plan, so give him credit. And in this case, saw a ton last time we played them. All right, part of this is now you put 5 guys on the line, 1 off-ball linebacker, so you're spreading it out a little bit. And you also have 3 guys to match up with this backside screen bubble that they have thrown. Think about Carolina. We were playing 2 deep safeties, and what would happen is two deep safeties would be out here with Kirby, and one might roll over, but they could still throw that screen bubble and kind of have numbers and pick up a good amount of yards. So you could see how the line schematically changed this up. Their emphasis was shutting down the run and that backside screen, manning up and saying, hey, beat us over top. And Chicago did not do that. I thought it was a great game plan, and I thought on top of that, give credit to the players. Aiden Hutchinson was extremely disciplined on the edge in this game, and he didn't let things get outside of him often at all. The one time, I wouldn't even say it did on him. Jeff didn't really get off the block because he was playing inside leverage. We may show that one. But aside from that, he was really disciplined, and more so than just a read option. We kind of got him out of it because we kept scoring, but more so even the play actions, the bootlegs, the fake toss, where he wouldn't bite on the running back and take himself out of the play and give Fields an open lane. He would get in front of him, cut him off, which we know he has the athleticism to do as long as he doesn't completely overstep, and then he get himself in a good spot. And I think there's a great example on here on a goal line situation where he doesn't overrun it, gets back into the play, which made me think of last time we played Chicago, because if you remember, he was kind of knocked for him taking too steep of an angle, Fields getting around him eventually and scoring a touchdown. So I know I'm talking a lot. We're going to show that play, but here you see him on the edge here. There's that read option. There's a keep by Fields. He's able to get out there and limit that. It wasn't the cleanest tackle, so there was a couple extra yards picked up there, but it was pretty good for the most part. You can see Hutchinson was fired up after that play. This is what I was just talking about the Lions doing that cover 2 or zone coverage. They didn't do a ton of cover 2, but a cover 2 blitz, meaning they would bring these 5 guys that were on the line. So you see in this case, they have the 7-man box, and the 5 guys that were on the line pre-snap, those are the guys that rushed. So a lot of their pure zone drops were blitzes, all right? So they had one less underneath defender, but they were clearly not as worried about that. And that's their game plan in this game a lot of the time. So here, cover 2, but you have one less underneath defender. However, big part of that is at the same time, understanding the team you're playing against Chicago. They have a very good pass block win rate, as we touched on. However, Chicago had some injuries. Tevin Jenkins went out. 70 was having some big issues. Braxton Jones on the left tackle. He was struggling against everybody. And then on top of that, as a defense, I think Aaron Glenn kind of picked out and said, look, we can beat this offensive line if we get them into pure passing situations. So I don't have a problem with bringing extra guys because I think we're going to get home. And we're going to collapse that pocket and fill these rush lanes because, you know, they don't like to put spies up. And I didn't see them put any spies up in this game. Not your true spy. They don't do that. They don't believe in spies, according to Calvin Shepard, okay? But you can see on this one, Hutch with that push on 70 on Braxton Jones. You can see the bull rush, man. And he was just having a lot of problems. Aleem got off his block, and then they ended up checking it down. It's a 31-yard pickup. Here's that quarterback sweep that we saw. And first off, I think this was awesome play design by Chicago. Give them credit. I thought this first drive, they had some really creative plays that they threw at us and got us in a couple of bad spots. As the game went on, you didn't see as much of that, us in bad spots. But the first drive, they did it pretty well, and we know that's usually scripted, and they scripted it pretty well here. And as you're going to see on this play, I thought this was just well done. I think it was a short yardage situation. They bring in Cole Kmet to make it look like he's taking the snap. He does take the snap, and he tosses it to Justin Fields, the quarterback, and the running back leads the way. So it's really creative. The big thing here was Malcolm Rodriguez. Watch him here as the tight end goes to show like he's taking the sneak. Everybody crashes in, including Rodriguez, and that helps them get to the edge. However, when I'm watching this, I see Jeff Okudah on this outside, and I'm like, that can't be the reason that he was sat down, because I love the way he attacked. Versus last week on Carolina, it looked a little hesitant at time. Didn't go through it and just trust himself, hey, make the play. Like he was playing a little conservative Tane on the edge. This was not that. This was Jeff Okudah just attacking and taking this offensive tackle and making sure that play did not get outside of him. And I think as a defense coordinator, I would think this is all you want from him. Watch him dive down here on the toss. Here's the lead blocker, the pulling offensive lineman, Braxton Jones, and he took that thing head on, dude. He took that head on. And I got to believe as defense coordinator, that's not going to bench you. That's, hey, You're throwing your body out there to make sure that quarterback does not get to the edge. And I respect the heck out of that, right? No, man, these players are putting their bodies on the line, man. And that's, to me, he almost tripped him up there. I have no problem. I'm not expecting a dude to, shed the block and make the tackle on an offensive lineman. So, like I said, I was kind of surprised when I looked at him. There's no way this guy got benched for something like that. But you can see Malcolm here. He can't get out there. He's kind of late because he started to dive inside for the run. He's not able to get out there, and this one burst into a 31-yard pickup. And, by the way, I love Will Harris's pursuit. He had a lot of those. Where big plays break, Will Harris is always the guy next to the ball. Good job there by Kirby to limit that one. I know there's a lot of plays here on this first drive, but I think there's some things that need to be shown off here. Okay, now we've seen this before. This is not brand new. We've seen this where teams run the fake bubble screen and then they stalk block and they take off towards the end zone. And obviously the Lions are going to switch here. They have Malcolm Rodriguez lined up in the slot. They switch a little bit here as you're going to see the pre-snap. Oh, I missed it. There's your example of James Houston dropping out into the flat. Now, when he seemed to do that was when they went trips on one side. So in this case, you can see 3 receivers to the right. Occasionally, they would have a guy like James Houston drop out there into the flat a few times. So here he drops out. But watch Will Harris on this play. Will Harris does not get beat at all. Now, they run like a post here. Jerry Jacobs, he's going to have safety help, so he gets a step on him, but he has safety help. But Will Harris does a fantastic job picking up 13 Pringle on this play and then getting on top of the route here, right like this. He doesn't dive completely, controls himself, gets on top of the route. That's where Fields goes with it, and he almost threw it to Will Harris. That was awesome coverage by Will, and I thought Will played well in this game. Example, Will Harris communication pre-snap. They use fast motion, so I thought the first drive they did well against us. But usually we communicate this stuff pretty well. They got the linebacker in the action, all right? We were playing some man coverage. They got the linebacker in the action in this case. Will's communicating with Malcolm right here, and it looks like, as you're going to see, Will is saying, hey, you take the tight end. I got the fast motion. That's not what happens. Malcolm takes also the fast motion, so no one takes Cole Kmet. So they got 2 guys right here covering the same dude, and now Cole Kmet, who's not matched up with he was supposed to be, he chips and then drags across the field, and that's where the ball goes. There was one difference about this game versus last time that we played the Bears, and that was that we had some weapons. Meaning, we had DJ Chark and we had J-Mo. Now, J-Mo didn't get a completion. We did target him a few times in this game, but Chicago did, and I don't know the exact numbers on this, but from the eye test and from me marking all these plays, Chicago seemingly played a lot of man coverage, and we know one thing, they play a lot of cover 3, and they play a lot of man, but a lot of single high. And in this game, last time we played them, they cranked up their man coverage rate big time. It went way up. They played a lot more man against us. We didn't have the weapon. So I was wondering if that would be the same this week with us, 1, being at home, and 2, having some of the receivers back. It was. Seemingly, they played a lot of man still, maybe even more in this game. And what was great for the Lions is that obviously the Lions have dudes that can beat man coverage at this point. They pass protected really well. They picked up blitzes really well, as you're going to see, like this. All right, first off, got to give DeAndre Swift credit. I know this isn't him, but I'm not sure if I'm going to show the play or not, but so I want to at least bring it up. Swift picked up the block big time in this game. Jamal picks it up here. The offensive line did a really good job with the 5-man rushes. However, the man coverage, we had some success, and this is an example. You have St. Brown. Now, one thing we know, this is that corner out for 28 yards. One thing we know, Lions like to run these switch releases right here. They like to switch, and you can see he's going to start inside. St. Brown is on this play, and you get this cornerback to open up just a little bit, Blackwell, and all of a sudden, as soon as he does that, gets to the inside leverage, and then he breaks outside, and he's got him beat. That's just a clean route. St. Brown was running some beautiful routes in this game. He had like one where he got held up at the top of the route, but other than that, this dude was just getting open. He was just consistently getting open. He got one on Kyler Gordon where he just broke off the route, completely separated from him. And you can see the pass protection pickup is pretty darn good there as well. 28 yards on that play. Move forward a little bit. This one's coming off the holding penalty. All right, so that backed us up. But we ended up, getting the pass interference on this possession. But I thought this was just a good job of, again, they're playing a lot of man coverage, which I think motion was very beneficial because they seemed to show a lot with the motion that we utilized, whether they were man or they were going to end up dropping in a zone. They seem to show a lot of that. Here you get that motion over. Also, you have J-Mo in a slot. That's interesting. But mainly what you get here is that safety movement. I think post-snap, which Goff seemingly reads immediately right there. You see the safety sit down. This safety starts to work towards the center field position. You know it's man. It's single high. Okay, there's no safety over here. Simple as that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this slant right here to Khalif Raymond. Right there. Boom. Khalif Raymond hit him with a quick slant, 14-yard pickup. That's just winning your one-to-one matchup. Sometimes their safeties would also get matched up, so sometimes like their safety Houston Carson would get a guy like St. Brown from the slot. All right, I think this time this linebacker is actually matched up in man. Yes. No, I have it wrong. That would make sense. This linebacker is in man, so here's your one off-ball inside linebacker on this play. So there was a lot of that. But yeah, just a quick read, quick slant. This play was a drop by DJ Chark. The play before was a pass behind Jamison Williams on a dig route. This time it was a drop by DJ Chark on this play. However, again, a lot of man coverage from this team, and this was just a cool little concept. We've seen some Lions do something very similar this season, so I thought I would at least showcase it. They go cover one with a one underneath zone defending linebacker. His first read, as you're going to see, deep middle safety cover one. His first read looks like a St. Brown here, kind of chips, and then he's just going to sit down and run this curl route. But the safety that rolled down, as I stated, got a lot of man coverage looks. Like they got matched up in man a lot of times, not the linebackers. So here as the safety sits down on this curl route, Goff seemingly wants to go there first, fakes it. However, then he's able to come back, and this is where you have those two routes. We saw this earlier in the year where, one, this kind of fake, if it's not there, it could possibly move this off-ball linebacker and create that hole for Goff to put it in right by his ear in man coverage. So you're looking there. you give them the pump fake, so even if you don't throw it, now this linebacker's looking at that, and you create this space behind him if you can win with two speedy receivers in Khalif Raymond and DJ Shark. But we've seen this. They run the dig and also kind of the post here with Khalif Raymond. So they're working just kind of on top of each other on this play, and Goff's able to go right by the ear of the linebacker. He put it on him. It was just a drop there, but I do like the play design, and that's just the kind of stuff I've tried to show off all year, is the cool play design from Ben Johnson. And this was another example of it right there. He's looking, he doesn't like it, safety bites down, but that moves the linebacker just enough, and now he's able to go right by his ear, step up in the pocket away from the pressure. And it's just beautiful timing as well. Like, the timing of this is what stands out. He could have probably thrown it to Khalif first, but he was looking for that, wasn't there, but it moves that linebacker, and now he's able to put it right by him. Pass interference call that we got in the end zone, it was really good coverage by the Chicago Bears. Like, they covered everything up on this play, and at that point it was kind of like, hey, I'm just going to throw it up there and see what happens. I have no problem with that, but this thing was covered up really well. So let's take a look at this. I thought a big part of that was that they were switching a lot of stuff, and at one point in this game it kind of felt like, man, this is just too easy for Ben Johnson. You guys are just playing cover one over and over and over. You can't let Ben Johnson know that, and they really started to click, but they were switching a lot of their things. So here, this outside corner with the fast motion, he's going to drag across Khalif Raymond. We did this last year similarly against the Green Bay Packers. This safety is going to roll down, and he's going to be your robber on this play, but Khalif Raymond is going to be cut off by this linebacker. The corner's not going to follow. He's going to drop off, and then all of a sudden this linebacker is going to step down and cut off Khalif Raymond. So that's the first place you look. However, the linebacker does a good job right there of taking that away. Then you come back to St. Brown. Now that safety that rolled down cuts off St. Brown, so his second read is no longer there. So that, and then after that, Jared Goff looked here to the swing pass to the running back, but this off-ball linebacker was not just sitting in zone. He actually matches up with the running back, so he takes that away. Then Goff seemingly comes back to the curl here on this one. Now, J-Mo flew through the route. It was kind of weird, but you know he's trying to work back to the ball, which is a lot of times what they have is that curl that works back. He kind of went down on this one, so he didn't really have any separation for Goff to try to squeeze that in there. So now he's moving out of the pocket. He's like, you know what? I don't got anything. The deep safety's doubling this. I'm just going to throw it up there. And I don't have an issue with it, obviously, because it was PI, and it worked out for us. So that was just good coverage. I thought it would showcase that. Simple. You just get that switch with the tight ends. Shane Zylstra up, Brock Wright on this one. Very simple. This I was talking about their tight ends. Like, yeah, credit to our tight ends, but I also think at the same time the play designs have been extremely creative, and he's used them when he's needed to, like certain spots of field. We're not using our tight ends all the time. There are certain situations in which we use them, and here with the play fake, as they switch, 30, I think that's Houston Carson. That can't be Houston Carson. Yeah, Houston Carson, it is. Okay, but as they switch, you also get the play fake. It holds 36 just for a second. Now all of a sudden you get the step for Brock Wright, and then he's just got to lead him and put it on him. Now there was a blown block in the interior, but the ball gets out so fast, really doesn't affect it. But it was still a good throw. I'll give him credit. Yeah, it was like 3 yards, right? It was more than that, but it was a flat pass, but there's a clear missed block there in the inside. However, good throw. Good touchdown. Well, this is the kind of stuff that the Lions were doing. Now, this is the second drive here. Mike Hughes comes into the game. I have no issue with it. Like I said, I think Mike Hughes has earned snaps. I've said that this season. But here's what I like. The Lions were running combo coverage, meaning half the field, and I think a lot of times from what I've realized, what I've noticed, short side of the field, man coverage. I think that's how they did it. Could have been wrong, but that's what they did. They would mix man coverage and zone coverage. So in this case, man coverage to the short side on the top here, zone coverage to the far side of the field on the bottom here, and they would mix that, and they would play combination coverage on these downs. And in this case, that's what you get. So you get man over here, but now you're really forcing the quarterback to think, because if he's thinking he's got man everywhere, you don't. You got man and zone. So they play man on the top, and on the bottom here, you're actually getting zone coverage from Will Harris and Jerry Jacobs. You don't see a lot. I haven't seen us do this a lot this year. I think one other time this year I saw us run stuff like this. I may have missed other times. But for us to run that combination coverage, I haven't seen a ton. And in this game, that's seemingly what the Lions brought out a little bit, was that. And we'll see a few more examples. I think based on the route combinations that they run, it makes sense. The backside, they run like double slants, things like that. However, also, it keeps eyes on the quarterback. If you're in man coverage, everybody's not watching the quarterback. And the Lions don't like to run a spy. So if anything, you probably have one underneath zone defender. So the Lions keeping eyes on quarterbacks as well to that far side of the field. If you cut off the short side and he wants to take off that way, everybody's watching him. Where the issue comes into play here was Duracell cutting off this slant or dig route, whatever you want to call this, by the receiver. Mike Hughes in man coverage. He cuts it off, gets in front of it, makes sense, but Mike Hughes also sticks with it. I think if anything, kind of like Chicago, you almost maybe just want to say, hey, Duracell, you take this. I'm going to drop off and sit in zone. But they both run with it, and then all of a sudden it gives Fields a lane. John Kaminsky, I believe, on that play was unable to get off his block. They had Bugs that was unable to get off his block a little bit here. You could see kind of looked like a two-way go from Aleem, but Bugs was unable to get off his block. He started to stumble, lost his balance, and now he took off for 60 yards on this play. And Hutchinson, this play reminded me so much. Okay, guys, I got to point another thing out. Because the Lions did this last time we played Chicago, and they may have done this against Carolina as well. I think they may have. And this just seems like something that now he's doing. Based on the part of the field, different personnel's getting looks, right? So, okay, Amani's in for Mike Hughes. Did Mike Hughes get benched? I don't think so. I think it's part of the field. We want to give Amani some looks, and that's where they've been giving Amani looks. Special teams, yes, but goal line. In this case, look at Amani. He's in goal line situation here on Equinamia St. Brown. And I think I got to believe a big part of that's probably the length. Also, we know in these spots, sometimes Okuda doesn't really communicate. I've seen that where someone will try to like switch with him and he doesn't switch and he just sticks on his guy and someone gets open. We've seen that. In this case, though, they bring Amani in once again in the goal line. But the main thing I'm focused on here, because this is where they try to hit the tackle. I think Riley Reef, they have a sixth offensive lineman on this play. He's eligible. He's going to try to run this flat. But if he ends up just almost accidentally covering him. However, it's Aiden Hutchinson on this play who immediately, plays the tackle. Tackle kind of just pushes him off. So now he stumbles. But instead of Hutchinson just running around the corner and giving that up, Hutchinson heads up play. This made me think so much of last year. He stops himself and says, nope, I got to get back into my lane here. This was so disciplined. And this is like a under the radar one to me. It's discipline though to say I'm not just going to try to run around the edge. I need to get back into my rush lane. So he turns back around, sets himself back up. Now he sees Fields wanting to take off and run, and he's like, okay, I got that. Now he's able to go out there and make a play, get on that. Yeah, Barnes could have done it, maybe if he does, but the point is Hutchinson did not keep running with that. That was a smart play. Here, Amani on St. Brown. Good job by Malcolm picking up this tight end. He covered that up really well, and it was the eligible tackle that they were trying to hit. We did it well, and Hutchinson was the guy that I circled there, and that was the sack on 3rd and goal. That forced a field goal. That's a massive play. That could be one of the game-changing plays that you point to in this game. Lions were run blocking really well. The combination blocks, they were getting a lot of movement. I thought they were just working downhill. A majority of our runs in this game were zone blocking, but as we know, the Lions at one point this year were the one team in the league that had 10% in every rushing category, over 10% of each run type, and in this case, Lions were just getting movement, man. They were attacking downhill. You get that combination block here between Evan Brown and Penei Sewell. Look at the movement by Sewell on this play. Oh my, he is driving my guy back. He is driving that dude. And I also shout out, because the Lions like to do this, St. Brown with that late motion in to cut off Jaquan Brisker right there. Boom. Open up and seal up that huge hole. That inside quick hitter, which the Lions seem to hit a lot of those inside zones. A couple duo runs, just quick hitters. Boom. Let's just hit it and roll, and let's just roll downhill. They rolled downhill on that run, so I wanted to show that one. Was kind of wide open, if I'm being honest. Like I said, Chicago didn't do a lot of cover 2. They play a lot of single high. This one's a post snap drop. Jaquan Brisker is going to drop out. They're going to play cover 2 here, and they're actually going to have this Kyler Gordon. He's in zone coverage. He doesn't have anybody on the side. Point is, though, so you see there cover 2. It's just a massive hole. It is a massive hole. And why? I thought our play action was extremely effective in this game. One of the most effective games I thought for our play action. Not every time, but it was very effective, probably because we ran the ball so darn well. And it was like, dude, they're punching us in the mouth for at least 5 yards about every carry. We have to sell out for that. And that's what their linebackers did. Watch their off-ball linebackers first on this play. This wasn't the only example, but you see the steps up field. That one wasn't too bad, but you did get that, so not getting as much depth. And the Lions go right behind it here with that dagger concept, as they usually do with Shark and with St. Brown against a single high safety. That makes sense on this play, but this one, as I said, they're going to roll out and go cover 2. So Goff moves from the pressure there from Penei Sewell a little bit, steps up, and it's just a massive hole to throw in there to DJ Sharks. Damo, we know he had the big reverse. However, this play, when I watched this, does feel like one of those plays where Jamison had an impact. Here he is at the top of the screen. The Lions are going to hit Jason Kabinda on a flat, out of the backfield, out of fullback position. Now, this is a 3rd down and short. But you almost kind of feel the impact here of having the speed of Jameis Williams. This dude is fast. Like, he is extremely fast. So in this case, defense, too high pre-snap. They're going into Tampa 2 defensively. Watch how fast Jamison takes off the line. I mean, oh my goodness. Like, he's gone. And that cornerback is getting depth immediately because of how fast he takes off. They're going to pass it off eventually into Tampa 2, and he's going to drop to the flat if there is a flat. But because of how fast he takes off, all that cornerback's attention is like, oh gosh, that guy is gone. So you see him focus on that. Then all of a sudden you hit that flat. That's his outside zone, and now it's open. Like, that kind of speed he has off the line Sometimes he gets held up, but in this case, he did not. And look how fast he just, boom, he's gone. And it's like, okay. And then he hit that flat pattern. You pick up a first. Love to see the guys like Josh Reynolds. Boom, there's your block there, pulling outside. That was another quick hitter. It was a toss, but it was a very quick hitter. It was a good design by Chicago, right? Because they don't show any receivers. And I think Jerry Jacobs was a little bit late, probably, Jerry, to react to this fast motion here by Velus Jones, who's actually going to get the jet. He was probably a little late to react to this because with the fast motion, you probably wanted to get outside a little bit because pre-snap, normally what we see is this is how our cornerbacks play. And again, shout out to Chicago for knowing how we do things. This is how our cornerbacks usually play at pre-snap. They have no one on their side, so he kind of gets inside. You can see how he's inside that outside edge rusher, James Houston. He gets inside, almost gets across from this tight end on the play. But when you bring that fast motion across, what I don't think Jerry Jacobs even notices, he doesn't even seem to notice it. When they bring him across, I don't think he sees it. So now this jet, you could see he's unable to get out there and seal off the edge here from this 13-yard pickup. Good job, I thought, first off, by Chicago knowing how we play things and saying, hey, look, this is what they do. We're going to hit this guy and catch him lacking a little bit. How about Iffy, man? He had 2 pass breakups. He had a really nice saving tackle in this game, which I thought was actually a pretty nice tackle. So this is situations where Iffy would come in. Notice, Will Harris is not off the field. He's in the slot. Also notice, Lions have a 6-man box, so they're keeping their 6-man box, but clearly in sub package, 11 personnel here. So this is one of those occasions where they take one of the D linemen off. Again, as we touched on earlier, the combination coverage. Man coverage on the top. If he rolls down, we're playing you in man. Mike Hughes, we're playing you in man. Why? I think matchups were a part of this. Backside, we're playing zone. We're playing zone. Will Harris in the slot. We're playing zone. Jerry Jacobs, we're going to play zone over here with St. Brown. So take a look at this. This bottom side, you get zone coverage. You almost get a cover 3 type of look, right? With your flat defender and your hook zone defender here. So you almost get that. Then on the short side of the field, you get that man coverage. So it almost feels like, okay, short sides are quick hitters, right? They're trying to look maybe for a rub, something like that. Meanwhile, backside, we're going to play zone coverage so you can't hit us in this case with a double slants pattern. Boom, you can't hit us with that. We're going to cut this off. So you're going to have to throw it into a window. Or if you try to hit this front side pass, now what you're going to get is the Lions quick hitter. They're manned up. Now, if he starts to lose a little bit of space here on the top of the route, but I like how he fights back into it, and we know he fought with him to the ground. They called a catch originally, but then they said, hey, he didn't catch that. Another cover two blitz here, and I think, again, circle Will Harris. He's bringing a slot blitz on this play. They had a fine pattern for it because this can beat cover 2, even though I like the way that Kirby Joseph played as a deep safety here. And again, if he's out there on this case, I like the way that Kirby played it, really getting on top of this corner route where the ball's going. But because of Will Harris getting just enough pressure, and look, Kirby was closing on that now. He was going to contest that. But with Will's pressure getting there, forced the throw to be a little bit inaccurate here by Justin Fields. I thought Will did a good job of this as well. Jeff Okudah had a really good play, and I think we're going to see it of him dropping in his zone. But yeah, Will just gets enough pressure there, kind of gets in his face. Malcolm also shows and drops out post-snap, so it holds that running back just enough, and that could help him possibly win this matchup. This play, for some reason, is not coming in well, but I do want to showcase it, give some love here to that man, Josh Paschal, on this play, working on Braxton Jones, man. Now, usually I love him matching up with guards more than anything, but again, this tackle was struggling, and it was almost like, man, you could just taste it. You're like, hey, taste it. That sounds weird. But you could just kind of see it, like, this dude's struggling. Let me go to work on this guy. Lions are in man here, and there's a sack to Paschal. Paschal had a good day. I mean, I know Houston's getting the love, but Paschal balled too, man. They ate. It's almost like they feasted. They're like, hey, this offensive line's not great. That's where you have to dominate. Like, it's simple as that. Look, they're not pass protecting well, and now they're being forced to pass. We have to take the game over, because if we're not taking the game over and we're bringing 5 rushers, then we're losing the game for us at that point, because there's a weakness in the back end because we got less dudes back there. Lions had to win this battle, and they dominated. It's like they could sense. They could sense it. Hey, this is going to be a problem. We need to light this team up. And that's exactly what they did. Could have came back into the game. Okay, so that's why it was interesting to me. But this is where he came back in. I thought he played fine in this. I thought he looked good, actually, in this game. I didn't have any, like, knocks against him. Maybe something little. But I thought he played pretty well. Here he is at the bottom of the screen just covering up this curl. I thought he's in a really good position here. Pretty good position. Stuck with him pretty well. But, again, the sack is there very fast on this play. I think this time it was James Houston that, as you could see, basically ran through the tackle, got the pressure. Hutch got a little bit off the edge there. And then again, Josh Paschal, this time working on a guard, which is the matchup that I always love. Watch him work on this guard. Just drive the dude into his chest, man. I mean, he drove him back into Justin Fields. That's what he is. He is a bowling ball. And you think you like John Kaminsky on stunts. Just give that man a little bit time to figure it out. He's going to be a problem. You got Jerry in coverage, Will in coverage. Duracell was playing fantastic man coverage. Give him some love. He didn't get targeted once. He was all over it in man coverage. Like, he was giving no space, and he had to cover some routes now. He had to cover a deep corner by a running back, and that's where Fields was looking to throw it, and he was all over him. Duracell played very good man coverage in this game. The 7-yard run on this play because we did a lot of the outside zone. We mixed in some inside zone quick hitters, but a lot of zone rushing in this game. I like this one because obviously you're going to get more of a 2-eye on this play. So you have Jonah Jackson kind of help, right? He's trying to get that contact, kind of push him in a spot where Frank can cut him off to open up that window. That way Jonah can get up to the second level. So right there, you can see Frank, he's doing everything he can to get in position. But if he doesn't help and he's in a 2-eye, it's going to be hard for him to get over there. Also on top of that, the Bears were kind of slanting against the zone. They did it a few times, and that can be a problem as well. But Jonah helps him out, slides him over there to Frank Ragnow, and then that helps him pick up the block on this play, and then it springboards a 7-yard run right there. You can see now he's sealed up. Now Jonah gets up to the second level, and there's your 7-yard run on that play. A lot of the offense this year. But still, things like this, basic as they are, it gets me like, oh, that's fire. Here it is, St. Brown. So not only that, all right, fast motion across, also eye candy, run fake. That's what it is, man. It's that motion that pulls this linebacker into the box. Then you run fake. Now they sell out. You're 2-on-2 with the deep middle safety. So you're not even really counting this guy. You're saying, look, we're 2-on-2. So what do we need to do? We need our guy to get the block. We need to move this linebacker out of the slot. We need to basically get him in the box. So not only are we going to use that fast motion to move him because it doesn't move any defenders, but we're also going to tie that in with the run fake. So you can see how he's kind of cheating outside the box. Now we're going to get him inside the box and then dive down right here on the run fake. Then you set up a tunnel, and now all of a sudden you got numbers. You got a tunnel screen with numbers. Frank isn't unable to get out there, but Sewell does. And you can see, boom, put his shoulder down, baby. Hey, that's a broken tackle, Khalif.
Man, Sewell's ability to just block in space like this is unreal. Man, talked about playing through the whistle. This dude.
Nothing to using tight ends, nothing crazy, but certain situations it's time to use them. And in this case, they're manned up right here. Jaquan Brisker's manned up, and you get a chip flat. It's the run fake. Look at you see how the safety dives down on the edge there? There's the run fake. Now he's behind him, and he's just going to run it flat, put it on him, and he walks in for a 9-yard touchdown. Point out Jeff Okudah, because again, I thought Jeff played really well. This was getting good depth to me on this play. This was a sack. Cover 2 blitz. As I said, they kept bringing 5 because, again, look how they're playing the box. They're bringing 5 rushers on this play. But you can see post-snap, they drop out 2 deep safeties. So now Will is your safety, which we know he can play that, which is awesome for versatility. Will does really well kind of matching up here as they're trying to hit a shot play. He matches up with St. Brown. Opposite side, Kirby Joseph is trying to match up. But what they're doing is they're doing a play fake, and then they're trying to reset and set up a big bomb here on this play right here to that top outside receiver. The pressure gets there and takes it away. But I think on top of that, Jeff Okudah also got good depth. He got really good depth. He's long. He got in a spot where this was going to be a kind of a tight window for Justin to throw. Break that route inside, then back to the corner, kind of getting himself away from Jeff so he doesn't continue to get depth, but he breaks in and then back out. So you get that double move where you're really creating that space. But I thought Jeff did a really good job right there of feeling it and dropping and get some good depth where this is going to be contested. Kirby's trying to run with it. So there is a hole there, but I thought Jeff did a really good job getting in a good spot there and maybe make him pull that thing down because he did. He pulled it down and then took off and ran. Then all of a sudden James Houston comes from behind and just chops that thing out and gets the strip sack. Also some pressure, as you're going to see right there. Isaiah Buggs. It was pretty poor pass blocking, if we're being honest, but there's the pressure. You can see once that shot, I think the pressure took him away from it. Also, I think Jeff was in a pretty good spot. Now he takes off, and then here's James Houston being a little too wobbly with that football. Strip sack. Cover 2 read. This is not. You know what's funny about this is that last video, if you guys watched the All-22, appreciate you. Our offense. I said, you know, Lions, I think one area they do have to get better, though, is the cover 2, beating cover 2. They were like, here you go. Take a look at this. The very next week, it's like, hey, I spoke something into existence because maybe Chicago thought the same thing. They're like, hey, we got answers for that. Oh, okay. Hey, my bad. Hey, look, 2 deep safety. My bad. There you go. They're going to run basically a go route, and then they're going to run the out route. It's as simple as that. And usually in that Carolina game, these outside corners were really sitting in the flats. He kind of breaks it into a fade, so you really create that space. And then there's kind of the sit down and out route for St. Brown, and he puts him on in between the cornerback and between the linebacker on this play in that zone hole. But I think, again, the route detail is important because you kind of fade it out to really pull this outside corner. And St. Brown also releases inside on this play to create as much space as you can. And it's also to the wide side of the field, and then you open up that hole that Jared Goff can put that ball in.
Notice the pacing and recognition by St. Brown to sit down at the top of this route and not run through the out, but instead sit down and slow himself up into the hole.
St. Brown was kind of eaten in this game. St. Brown was running some really good routes, and actually earlier in the game I must have missed it, but I didn't showcase it. St. Brown got held up on running the exact same route. He got held up at the top of the route. Here he doesn't actually get matched up like a corner. It's more of a linebacker, but I want to showcase two things. First off, this is the DeAndre Swift blitz pickup. Boom. Give him credit. He lit that dude up. He lit, and then he battled him afterwards. I love it, Swift. You deserve some flowers for that, okay? Because we knock on you for things like that, but you're doing your thing, man. So there you go. Anyway, linebackers matched up here one-on-one with St. Brown, but he changed it up. Last time he got held up right here, and he kind of tried to like mess with it a little bit. He's on the outside, linebackers got inside leverage, and he just did it quick. He ran like a speed route there. He immediately just broke down. He didn't even change speeds, which was so impressive. Like, he really ran through this at a high speed and then broke down against the man coverage, drove right across that safety, right underneath him. And when they were playing man, a lot of the motion I think was helping them get that pre-snap indicator, and it was just like, who's going to beat man? And a lot of times they just cleared it out and said, hey, we could take the shots. In this case, they have two goal balls because it's a single high safety. One of these guys can be the shot, or we can go St. Brown over the middle. Goff has a pick of the litter. They bring a blitz. I don't need to look at the shot play here. He doesn't want to. Maybe he does, but he decides, I'm going to take St. Brown over the middle of the field. Now, I think J-Mo got held up at the line on this play. Shark may have had a chance. They hit a shot later to him. I think he got kind of jammed up at the line of scrimmage here, which was one of the more interesting things when I watched him out of college. Right there, you see him get jammed up. Was more interesting things was his ability to beat press, because sometimes a lot of really hard to find in colleges. A lot of times you don't see receivers get pressed. Even in a big conference, you don't see it. So that's one of the areas where that's probably part of the improvement that they're looking to see. But look how fast he runs through this route. I mean, he broke that thing off at high speed, using hands well. It's a linebacker, yes, but it's a pretty route. I look at it and say, oh, Goff was just late on this one. Like, this is one of the examples where I felt like Jared Goff's pass was just late. He had Josh Reynolds here on this out route against an off-coverage corner, and I think he just put the ball out late. He threw some really good anticipation passes in this game. This was not one. I feel like he just got to throw that earlier. For whatever reason, he held on to it just a little bit too long to the short side, and maybe if you put it more outside, maybe you give him a shot, but I think everyone's just a tick too late. We had to settle for a field goal before half. Showcase this sweet run by DeAndre Swift on this play. Really not a ton to show here other than the fact that it was just a beautiful run by DeAndre Swift for 35 yards. The move that he made here, the spin, the burst, he kept balance, good contact balance, but the burst that he showed. So they run a draw, which, as we talked about coming into it, Buffalo had a lot of success doing things like this. This is the third, I think, at 18 or 19. Look at first off, good blocking here by Shane Zylstra at the second level. Jonah gets out there and picks up a block. Here we go. Here's where they break off. Number 91 breaks off here of Frank Ragnow. Watch the spin. Boom, he loves to do this. Good contact balance. But what stands out right here is that burst. That burst from 0 to 60 to get upfield. Because if that was slow, he would have been brought down after breaking that tackle. But you see how fast he really got that speed right back up right there. Boom, there's that burst. He just turned it on. He may not have the elite top speed, but that was an elite burst to break away and pick up that 35-yard gain. That was the lightning that we were waiting for, because we know he has it. And the Lions came back and said, you know what? Let's do it again. Let's hit J-Mo with a reverse. And who stands out on this play? Penei freaking Sewell. Because what they're gonna do, they're looking for these backside guys, Frank Ragnow and Penei Sewell, to kind of seal off these linebackers so that this can springboard and off to Swift. Okay, everybody crashes down. J-Mo on this backside, he's gonna get the reverse.
Two little things here as well. First off, they're playing a lot of man coverage, so I think you assume that they're probably not going to have eyes in the backfield. They're going to be watching the receivers. And number two, the decision to not have Goff flip it to J-Mo, but instead have Swift toss it to him, all of a sudden that edge rusher that's free, now he's really going to bite inside because he sees the handoff, not Goff faking the handoff.
But Sewell sees that linebacker completely sold right there. Now he's in Frank's line sight. This linebacker went all the way down. So now he's saying, there's no reason for me to stand here. Let me break up field and pick up that safety. Look at that from Sewell. Now look at, this is, not only is it impressive that he did that, but what's impressive is the fact that he stuck with Jaquan Brisker down the field. Like, that's hard to do. That's hard for an offensive lineman. He stuck with him as best as he could and helped block him down the field. That was such an athletic play. Goff was running down there. He wasn't blocking nobody. I was watching. Okay, he was running, though. He was running. That's what matters. And, hey, a little bit of scoot, huh? I mean, there was a little scoot there. I'm just saying. But Jameson looked like he was literally flying. Like, I like, oh, my goodness. He looks like he's actually flying. When he turned the corner, he looked like he had a jetpack. I mean, he had, look at this. Look at him start to fly here. I'm like, oh my. Y'all see that little burst? I'm telling you. If that guy wasn't there who Sewell had to pick up, which was Brisker, I would have loved to see what his speed would have hit. Because right there, it's like he turns it on, right here. He starts to blow by everybody, and then he has to slow down. I was like, bro, he may have just been better off just cutting across the field. Like, hey, cut across the field, dude. You're fast enough to do it. He tried to cut around and play with this dude, but man, that burst was scary. I was like, oh, yo, that dude's flying. Hey, I don't know how you deal with that. And in this case, they bring out the wham, okay? I mean, I'm assuming they didn't I don't think they may have done it a couple other times in this game, but in this case, they bring out the wham on this play, picks up 6 yards. I think the guy that stuck out to me on this one was Frank Ragnow because, yeah, I think it was Frank. Did I write Frank? I wrote Frank down. I wrote Frank and Sewell. Frank and Sewell that stuck out. Okay, Frank. It was Frank because when you're doing the wham, these linemen are getting to the second level, and the tight end comes in to cut it off. That way you can hit the quick. This is a quick hitter run, by the way. And what happens is the linemen, 2 linemen, are going to break up to the second level, pick up the linebackers. You're trying to get that quick hitter right there, okay? What stuck out was, to me, Frank Ragnow, because Frank, as you're going to see here, he doesn't actually have a linebacker to block. Usually they do. Seal him off, cut him off, and then he can run right by him. He didn't have a linebacker. So he actually stopped, broke back down, and cut off the defensive lineman to open up that lane for Swift. That's what stuck out to me. Very heads-up play. There's no linebacker here. So he kind of like stopped, set himself back up, cut off this defensive lineman, and Josh lost his block on this play. But I thought that was a heads-up play by Frank Ragnow. See, he said it wasn't just the run plays, it was the bootlegs. Watch Aiden Hutchinson's discipline on this play. This is about as good as it gets. There's your fake handoff bootleg. Hutch does not dive at all. Look at that. You see how he broke down immediately, cut this thing off, and now Fields is like, I don't have an option. Even if the dude was open, it would have been hard to throw that. However, N'Keal Harry, we know he's not very fast. Patriots let him go. He's a bear. Here he is in the slot. Watch Jerry Jacob. I'm like, Jerry's not that fast, is he? Then I realized it was Harry. I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Still impressive, though, the fact that he cut this dude off as fast as he did. Watch him here. Watch him cut off this drag. He undercut that thing. I'm like, who is that receiver? I realized it was N'Keal Harry, but at the same time, I was like, hey, you know what? I'm still giving him his props for it because he did cut that dude off. That's an NFL receiver that you cut off. Kirby Joseph, the pass was a little bit behind. There was definitely some pressure on this play. I believe, yeah, there's definitely some pressure. The fact that James Houston bull rushed this dude, and I don't doubt James Houston is strong. He played off ball. I know he's strong, but he bull rushed an offensive tackle. It wasn't a normal bull rush, but he did. Hutch got some pressure on the backside, and I think that forced the pass to be behind. But again, talk about manning up your safeties. Lines on this play are manning up their safety, Kirby Joseph, on your inside slot. Take a look at this on Pettis. Here's the break right there. Boom, breakdown. There's the sticks. That's what he has to keep him from getting. The pass was behind, and then Kirby just shot out of a cannon and broke that thing up. That was an awesome play by Joseph. We only got a few plays left, but I made me think of Calvin. Single eye safety, again, the motion across. Jaquan Brisker follows the tight end. You're thinking man coverage. All right, obviously there's no one out there to drop anyways, but you're thinking man. He's probably not going to bail. They're pressing. Kyler Gordon one-on-one with DJ Shark on this play. Single eye safety, so there's no help out there. Simple as that. Hey, I'm taking the shot. And we've done this for weeks now in a row. We haven't hit on as many of them, I think, as they would like to. But, hey, that's my one-on-one. I like my matchup against the rookie. St. Brown beat him earlier. I'm taking my chance. 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3, boom, and I'm letting it go. He's even right now, but I'm just leaving it up there. And this is basically the same ball placement. Now, yeah, maybe you can try to catch and run this, but this is the same ball placement. Goff has thrown this pass like 4 times I've seen, and the ball has landed in the same spot every single time. That was about as good as it gets. It was right where it needed to be. The timing was unbelievable considering you don't know if he's really winning off the press, right? He won. He's clean. They're even. Put it right on him. And the catch was unreal there. That was literally the Calvin Johnson catch, man, with one hand. It just, I'm like, come on, DJ. You got to stop. That makes up for that drop. That is disgusting. You need to stop, man. Contested like that? Come on now. Come on, man. Look, hey. Come on now. Play. Kyler Gordon one-on-one with St. Brown. Watch. Kyler Gordon's a good coverage corner. He's a rookie. Watch how fast St. Brown wins this. Look at this. He's in the slot here. They go cover one again. So, again, you're just saying, hey, we got to find guys that can win. Did you see that? Like, sometimes it's like I don't even know what to say. Did you see the route? Y'all saw the route. I mean, what do I need to say here? Y'all saw the route, how clean that was at the top of the route to lean into it, break outside. I mean, he's playing like a complete vet. The lean into the defender, who is currently, you can see, playing him straight up. Outside step, now he's got inside leverage. Then once he gets inside leverage, there's the push-off, leans into him. Not the push-off, but the lean in, you know, the lean in. Separates, and he's wide open, and he slows down for Goff to find that. Like, that is, dude, he wanted the push-off, Kyler did. But come on, man, that is like a vet route. That is beautiful. It's beautiful route running, it really is. You can see he won the push-off right there. You know, maybe a little bit, but hey, you know, Maybe a little bit, but man, that route was pretty. Such a rhythm here. Again, I'm like, man, you can't make it this predictable. You can't just sit and cover one and show us, because things like this are going to happen. Fast motion, of course, if it's cover one, Kyler's going to go across because you're not in zone coverage. So he just fouls across. You snap it with the fast motion before he settles. Look at where the defender is versus Khalif. He's very fast. You see how fast he's running the motion? He's not walking and jogging that motion. He's trying to get across the formation fast enough where he creates leverage by the motion. You see this? He's moving across the field. Now you have the leverage. There's the play fake. Cornerback is now on the inside, and it's just simple as that. Look at the route. Oh, my goodness. That is a nasty route. He created like 4 yards of separation. Clearly, they were like, hey, we're cool with picking on Kyler Gordon. And this route is... Khalif is a tough route runner because he's so fast and twitchy, and usually shorter receivers can be much more difficult to handle. It's just like a smaller target. But he's throwing this ball as he breaks, leaving it up there, pulling him back to the football. But that route is... And it just felt like they were just kind of like, okay. It just felt easy. It really did at a point there. It kind of started to feel easy. Screen to Swift, but it's not just that basic. What did we see earlier? The Lions do this all the time. I love it. They'll motion their fullback. I didn't show all of them, but the Lions do a lot of the same looks, so you don't know what's coming because they'll show the same thing. This time you get a loop motion here from St. Brown to set up a screen bubble potentially with the run fake. But that's not even where the ball's going. So they don't just throw a slip screen, which some teams do. They just drop back and throw the slip screen to the running back. They set up a fake screen to the far side of the field here with St. Brown on the motion, right? It's man, so he's out of this side of the field. So you lose a defender. At the same time, there's the fake by Goff. It tricked the cameraman as well. Linebackers now move, and now you have a screen that's set up. And now you have numbers, but at the same time, you have leverage on your screenplay. It's the little things. It is the little things with Ben Johnson that are so impressive because he's not just, I'm going to call a screen. I'm going to call this kind of screen. Look at this. Look at the camera guy get fooled. Whoa. Hey, there it is. Let's go. It looks like a cover 4 blitz on this play. So same kind of idea. But the pressure this time, Benito Jones, they bring 5. He literally runs over the guard on this play. Hutch also beats number 71, the right tackle, but it doesn't matter because of how fast Benito's there. He runs over their right guard. I can't think of his name off the top of my head for some reason. I had it wrote down. I can't read it either. But you see that he runs the guy over and feels just like, dude, what am I supposed to do with that? Look, this is what Glenn said he wants to be. He wants to be this physical man press team. That's who he wanted to be coming into the year, and that's what it is. That's how they play. Look at this. Cover 1. Obviously, you're going to rotate your safety down here. He's going to Robert. He's going to roll. He's going to cut down this. He's going to cut off this tight end on Duracell on this play. It's singled up everywhere else. Jeff is in good coverage, really good coverage at the top of the screen there. So I thought he was playing really well. And then at the bottom here, Jerry, a little bit of space at the top, but you can see where the sticks are. They have to get all the way to the 35, so he just runs a quick curl. Good body control, though. That's what sticks out to me. Jerry being a little bit lower to the ground, I think it helps. That's fantastic body control. He did not give up a lot of space. Will also in the slot here to get physical within 5, turn and run with the guy. And then, of course, they forced a 2-yard scramble with the pressure as multiple guys are getting pressure on this play. I think you're going to see John Kaminsky get some pressure. James Houston get some pressure. Take a look at John first. We know he is an absolute bulldog. Oh, my goodness. Like, that is, hey, you could sense it. You could sense we could eat on this O-line, and you have to. You know they're passing. You have to go to work.
And you can see the Lions working to be disciplined with their rush lanes. Again, they don't play spies. So you get the show by the linebacker, then drop out. It gives James Houston that 2-way go on the edge, I believe. And then you get Kaminsky, who that's where he's going to run. Hutch then is going to stun around because they're not trying to have it 3-by-1 because then in that case, now it leaves an opening for Fields. So they're always trying to be disciplined with those rush lanes.
And dominate that. Look, literally James Houston fell down and he tackled the offensive tackle and then got back up. It was almost more athletic than the fact that the dude got back up. Like, he tackled the guy and then got back up, dropping out and it turning into the sack.
And notice the personnel they're using to drop out. In this case, yes, it's kind of obvious pass downs. But even early in the game, he was getting on the field. Athletically, James Houston is definitely built, having off-ball experience, to be able to drop in coverage very comfortably and change directions. And that's exactly what you see here. You don't see a lot of Hutch doing it in this game.
Here he drops out, as you're going to see. They're manned up here. Duracell. Physical coverage on the out route. It seemed like that's where Fields wanted to go with the ball first. Then you get pressure. But this is what I was talking about. James dropping out against on the trip side. It's like a mix to me. They run double slants. All right. We drop in a zone. They go trips. There could be a screen potential. In this case, they run slants. Houston now jumps in that passing lane. This is knowing your opponent. Like, you got to give Glenn credit. This is absolutely knowing your opponent. And they're limited offensively. We know this. But it's knowing your opponent and saying, look, we're going to take all those things away. We're going to make you get to read 2, 3. We're going to make you get to read 3 and then do something with that. And we believe that our defensive line is going to eat you up if we do. So we're going to focus on stopping the run first. Now in this spot, We don't need to focus on stopping the run, but we still got 5 guys across the line, and we're going to drop Houston right into your first passing lane. Now what? Okay, now you come back to Duracell. Yeah, that's covered up. He was doing really well. And at this point, what do we expect? Pressure. And that's what you get. And then Houston is just flying on that play to cut him down. But yeah, there was actually, like, I don't know if this was a play. They were cut blocking Aiden Hutchinson to try to get the ball out quickly. There you go. Cut blocking Aiden Hutchinson off the backside. Trying to get the ball out fast.
Again, notice the rush lanes like liquid. Okay, as one goes outside, someone's got to fill inside. We can't leave that opening, and that's what Hutch does.
If you try to cut block and get the ball out fast, that ball's got to come out. If it does not come out, now you're in trouble, because as soon as that pass rusher gets back up, he's going to be in your lap. In this case, he's not even the guy that gets the pressure. It's Benito Jones. But you take away that first read, and that's where you have to give Glenn credit. And then Houston just saying, hey, I'm pretty fast. I want to show too many more plays. Okay, I don't need to show much of the fourth. At this point, we're just kind of running the ball, running down the clock. This was an 8-yard run. Another outside zone here. I mean, that was the play I actually showcased on the short. So, you know, I might as well show it. But, yeah, it was beautiful blocking. So he does. Boom, there he cuts it off. Now Jonah's second level. And then Penei Sewell, he's trying to set the edge. He's not trying to get out of Penei Sewell. They did do some stretch runs. But in this case, Sewell just setting the edge completely by throwing him on the ground, opening up that lane, that outside zone lane for him to run through, and he's got 8 yards on the play. Plus, Jamal on top of that gave him credit. He was running hard. He was running well. Both running backs were, and he was breaking a lot of the first tackle, and I thought that was big too. A lot of arm tackles, but he's breaking the first one. So I thought the Lions just played downhill all game. All game. And I know I showed a lot of good there, but we won 41-10. I mean, why would I not show all good? This was an awesome game. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And yeah, man. I mean, if there's more things that y'all want to see, let me know. There's definitely good and bad that I can showcase, but this was kind of my whole overview. And since I put the two together, I know I got to show less clips because I got to fly through it, because otherwise it's going to be super long. So I don't want to do that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Brad, for watching. Hopefully the NFL decides 8 teams in the playoffs would be kind of cool. Thank you, Brad, for watching. And